Hello, everybody, and thanks for tuning in for another Eureka video lesson. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Eureka Module 6, Lesson 7. Our learning target is I can plot points, use them to draw lines in the plane, and describe the pattern within the coordinates. Let's go ahead and get started. Today, we'll be looking at a set of coordinates, and we're going to see if they follow a certain pattern. So, when you're following along, you do not need anything to write on, but you will be answering some questions on Edpuzzle. So to start off, I see points A, B, C, and D. It's 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, and 3, 3. I'm going to pick a color, and I'm going to go ahead and draw this line here. So point A is going to be at 0, 0, so I'll label that there. 0, 0 is A. I see point B is 1, 1, B. Point C is 2, 2, and D is 3, 3. When I draw this line, I notice that it is in fact a straight line, and it does follow a pattern. The pattern that I notice is that X and Y are always the same number. So that means that even though this is off of the graph, this only goes up to 5, 5. I know that if this line went on forever, it would hit 10, 10, 20, 20, and 100, 100. Let's take a look at a different line made up of different coordinates. So now we have G, H, I, and J. I'm going to change the color so that we can see more clearly. But I can see that it's 0, 3, 1/2, 3.5, 1, 4, 1/2, 4.5. So I'm going to go ahead and plot these, and I'm going to see if they follow any kind of a pattern. So 0, 3 is G. 1/2, 3.5 is right here. 1, 4 is right here. Oh, and I forgot to label these. That's H, and that's I. And then finally, J is 1.5, 4.5, which is right there. So if I draw a line, it would go on like that. I also see that this is following a very specific pattern. It's actually going in the same direction as A, B, C, and D. Oh, and that's D right there. Sorry. But it's not that they're the same numbers. Although it follows a similar pattern in a similar direction, they're not the same numbers, but they do follow a very specific pattern. For example, I know that if these went on forever, I could tell you that this line goes through this point. So it would be 2, 5. So I can even write that down here, 2, 5. And I do notice a pattern. Do you guys notice a pattern? I can see that every single time Y is actually 3 more than X. So 3 is 3 more than 0, 4 is 3 more than 1, and 5 is 3 more than this. So that means that if I know what X is, all I need to do is add 3 to it, and that point will be on this line. Let's take a look at a slightly bigger example and see if we can apply what we've learned to this. So here are 4 different lines. I'm going to try to draw these as we go along really, really quickly. So the first line, I'll draw this one in orange, is L, M, and N. So I have 0, 3. Let's see, 0, 3. 2, 3. And 4, 3. And I will draw the line. That's N. Okay. The next one, line set B. Let's go blue. I can see that it's 0, 0. That's point O. 1, 2. That's P. And 2, 4. That is Q. Now I'm going to try to connect these in a straight line. It's really hard to do on this computer. Let's see. There we go. Not too bad. O, P, and Q. The next set of coordinates, let's go with purple. R is 1 comma 1/2. S is 2 comma 1.5. And then T is 3 comma 2.5. Right there. And these 3 points make a line. And then lastly, let's go with green. Point U is 1 comma 3. Point point V is 2 comma 6. And then W is 3 comma 9. And these also make a straight line. Okay, now here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you a rule, and you're going to see if you can figure out which line, which set of coordinates meets that rule. So the first rule that we are going to see is y is always 3. Which one of these coordinates sets has a set of coordinates where y is always 3? And that one is this one, line A. So I'm going to write y is always 3. I'm going to thin out my brush a little bit. Okay, next rule is every y coordinate is less than the x coordinate. Which one of these lines has y coordinates that are always less than the x coordinate? Well, it's not this one because I see that the y's are bigger, and the y's are bigger here too. So it's got to be this one. Y is always less. Now, how much less is y? Well, 1/2 is less than 1, 1.5 is less than 2. How much less are they? And they're actually 1/2 less. So y is, and I'm going to change to this RST, so I'll go to purple. Y is 1/2 less than x, and y is always 1/2 less than x in this line. The next rule that we're going to look at is y is x times 2, or y is twice as much as x. And I look, y is more, but here 3 is not twice as much. So I'll look here, 2 is twice as much as 1, 4 is twice as much as 2. And yeah, 0 times 2 is 0. So this actually does match. So that is line OPQ. So I'll go to blue, and I will write y is twice as much as x. And then the last rule is y is 3 times more than x. And I look at my last line, and yes, that is true. Y is actually 3 times more than x. So my last rule is, I'll go to green, y is 3 times more than x. So now what we're going to do is we're going to check in about some points, and we're going to see which line some points fall on. Okay, the first point that I want to ask you about is, let's get a nice light color. Okay, 5 comma 4.5. So the first thing that I need to do is just look and see. I see here that y is less than x, and it can't be any of these ones because y is not 3 and y is not bigger, so it's got to be this one. Nope, let me undo that. It's got to be this one, line RST, where y is always 1/2 less than x. So it's line C. The next point is 1/2 comma 1.5. So 1/2 comma 1.5. Where does this point fall? And of course, the last one is 1/2 comma 3. This one actually has 2 correct answers. Which line does this one fall on? Thanks for tuning in, and we will check in about this in a few minutes.